Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if this is your first time. Today I will be talking to you guys about superfoods. And superfoods have evolved to become quite the buzzword over the last decade, and it seems like there's a new one every single month. In fact, you can literally trace the arc of popularity of these different superfoods, and as soon as one gets up and starts to peak and come back down, another one swoops in to fill the marketing and profit gap. And before you know it, every single month or 3 months you're told to buy a different and new superfood supplement because this one will cure you of all that ails. And superfood proponents come up with some of the best sentences to vaguely yet hyperbolically describe the benefits of eating these superfoods.
Powers to influence stamina, energy, and sexual function. But while whole beets are good, dried organic beet powder has more benefits. A restorative herb calming to the nervous system and has been shown to promote hair growth, alleviate insomnia, and may aid with learning and memory? Super high quality, superlatively effective adaptogen for everyday living. Maca contains 55 phytochemicals that are known to have vitality-enhancing effects in the body. Boosted neurotransmitter production. Megahydrate is the key that unlocks the potential of water as a medium for nutrient replenishment and waste removal at the cellular level. Crystal Energy is the key that unlocks the potential of water as the medium for nutrient replenishment. Wait, what the fuck?
And a day doesn't go by that I don't receive a query about the efficacy of superfoods. Do I use it? Do I recommend it? Will it cure me of X, Y, or Z? People are so hopeful, and I get that. You want to believe that the sales pitch is true. You want to believe that cures are possible. But is it possible? Do superfoods work? So first of all, let's try to figure out what constitutes a superfood in the first place. When you look at superfoods as a whole, you realize that they're usually high in antioxidants. But so are so many other foods, but they're not all knighted as super. Most superfoods end up being high in some specific nutrient, and that is usually the nutrient du jour that has been buzzing around on the blogosphere or news networks or social media. But again, even though a certain food is high in a certain nutrient doesn't mean that it is the best of the best or that it has some sort of phenomenal superpowers. Many superfoods can also have medication-like effects on the body, especially within the hormonal system. And keep in mind that a hormonal effect isn't necessarily a good thing when it comes to achieving or maintaining hormonal balance within your intricate, beautiful body. And some of these superfoods even appear to be completely made up. They are chemical or physical impossibilities. Enter, what the f*** is Ormus? So after looking at a lot of that, you have to think like, whoa, what makes superfoods so special? After much scientific review, I have come up with 3 qualifiers that distinguish a superfood. First qualifier, has it been studied? It appears to me that in almost every single case of a food being studied, it turns up some kind of magical nutritional property that is absolutely vital to our well-being. And I don't doubt that, because foods contain nutrients. And virtually every nutrient within foods that we have identified are vital to our well-being. There's no vitamin or mineral that can disappear from the diet and we'll be fine. So to me, it seems less of a case of does this superfood contain vital nutrients, and more of a case of has money been spent to evaluate this food. If it's been studied, it appears that it becomes a superfood or a supernutrient. Number 2, does it have a marketing department or someone who knows how to issue a press release? Yes, it's a superfood. The hungry media and the unscrupulous bloggers will parrot one another endlessly about how a newly discovered miracle superfood is the best thing they've ever heard of. Third qualifier, are affiliate commissions involved? Affiliate commissions are when someone who has a blog or a YouTube channel talks about something and then they post the link down below in the description box or embed it within the blog. And when you click on it, if you then buy that product from the website, the person who sent you there with that link gets a little kickback. I do have an affiliate account with Amazon. So if I link you a product to Amazon and you click it and then you purchase that product, I get a very small percentage of the purchase that you made. It usually comes up to like a few cents. It doesn't cost you guys anything, but I make money off of recommending products. And pretty much anyone else who is on the internet talking about products that they use are not so stupid that they are missing out on that opportunity. You do have to question the scruples of people taking part in this affiliate marketing. And I think that is an important question to ask yourself anytime you hear someone recommending a product. Is this person being compensated monetarily in some way by me purchasing it? As a part of this same qualifier is another question. Can the product or superfood in question be bought in bulk and then put into tiny, shelf-stable packages that can be sold out of my basement at an 800% markup? I see many bloggers or health experts or wellness coaches that have their own brand of supplement or superfoods, and they're not going directly to the source and having these products made especially for them. They are not overseeing the process of how these products are made. They are simply buying it in bulk, putting it into their own packaging, slapping a sticker on it, and selling it to you at an insane markup. Extra points if you can randomly add 3 or more superfoods together to form a shamanically tailored adaptogenic life force blend and tack on an additional 300% of pure profits. Now, I know I've painted a pretty negative picture, but I am not hating on all of these foods and products. I think a lot of these claims are based on legitimate science and legitimate findings and experiences of other people. But I don't believe that these amazing nutritional capabilities are limited to specific foods like coconut oils or green powders or goji berries. In my opinion, some of these products, like powdered maca roots, may in fact have some benefit to our health, especially if we're dealing with particular complaints like significant hormonal disruptions. But this type of food has a major effect on the body and comes with other nutrients as well, both of which need to be considered when we are deciding how and for how long to supplement with these foods. Another important factor to consider is whether or not these special properties of superfoods are limited to just those foods, because the more scientific research that's done, the more that we're finding that whole plant foods in general interact with our bodies in miraculous ways, and that many of our well-known common foods could be just as potent or effective as these super special foreign superfoods that we idolize because they're so unfamiliar. Which is another qualifier for superfoods. They have to be foreign to us and new because we're all about the new thing. Once we have experience with these foods, I've seen it time and time again with the arc of popularity of these foods. We hear of something, it's foreign, it's new, it has great possibility, our interest peaks. More and more people have experience with it and realize that it doesn't do shit for them, and it starts to drop off. Everyone starts to realize, this was just hype. And then the next one surges. I used to be on the superfood bandwagon hardcore. I was trying so hard to regain my health the natural way. I learned to demonize Big Pharma for falsifying and exaggerating the positive statistics about the curative effects of their drugs, and I was so unimpressed that Big Pharma seemed to fail to consider the negative side effects of their drugs in the promotion and distribution of these pills. And I thought that I had found another way in the natural health movement, but what I really found was just another group of perhaps equally unscrupulous, greedy people who were looking to make a buck, slinging equally as hyped, highly processed products who also generally ignored their inherent responsibility in checking out the potential negative health effects of these untested, unregulated superfoods and supplements. I see this so often. You have very potent medicinal herbs or foods that are dried and ground up, which alters them in ways that we can't fully understand scientifically, and these are sold to people around the world who then self-administer them in whatever dose and in whatever combinations they see fit. There can be significant risks involved in self-medicating, even if those medications are from the plant kingdom. But this is the supplement industry, or big sups, if you will. Only big sups doesn't have an FDA to regulate the claims that they make. Though even if they were regulated by the FDA or some other body, I assume that they would be just as bribable as the FDA is when it comes to the drugs that they approve, but whatever. And big sups makes big money, and they are just as likely to try to cover up damning evidence or the potential damages or the ineffectiveness of their money-making products as big pharma is. Like, spirulina can and often is contaminated with neurotoxic algae. Excess turmeric can contribute to kidney stones and cause mineral deficiencies. Life-threatening lactic acidosis from consuming too much kombucha. The subjective symptomatic improvements associated with maca root supplementation may be 50% or more placebo. What about the oxalic or phytic acid contents of these foods that we are supposed to be ingesting 2 to 3 times a day at high doses? What's going to happen to mineral absorption from our diet? What about active or inactive ingredients that are coming in high doses from these foods that could potentially bioaccumulate within our bodies? What about the heavy metal contamination that has been found in many of these powdered supplements and spices that are coming from third world countries that aren't tested, that aren't regulated? And speaking of which, what independent or any testing is being done on these products? Like, who is monitoring the supply chain? And what the is Ormus? As far as I can tell, the answers to those last 3 questions are none, no one, and nobody knows. So after years of powdered superfood hype slowly dripping from the festering hive of David Wolfian raw foodists, I am actually kind of relieved to see so many superfood lists knocking around the internet recently that are made up of literal foods. And most of the foods on those lists are whole plant foods that are widely available to all of us. Though I do find it suspicious that whole eggs keep cropping up on these lists, and each and every one of them seems to be quoting the exact same study. I do have to wonder if the Egg Board funded the study, and then sent out a press release with a suggested article format, perhaps. That or the media and bloggers are just as lazy as they've always been at fact-checking. And then, of course, there are many instances on these lists of a food showing up because they contain one nutrient that's supposed to be really, really good for you, and so the whole food then becomes a superfood. Enter red wine. Red wine is made of grapes with dark skin, and within that dark skin is resveratrol. Resveratrol is clung to by many upper-class alcoholics in denial. Where else can I get this cancer-fighting nutrient if not from my daily bottle of red? Grapes. You could get it from grapes, or blueberries, or raspberries, or mulberries. And all of those without the cancer-causing dose of alcohol. And then there's salmon. It's on every single one of these lists because it has omega-3s and lean protein. First, what mentally defunct statistician ever classified salmon as lean? Whatever. I'm not even all that worried about the high levels of cholesterol and fat. I am more worried about the PCBs, dioxins, drug residues, and heavy metals which are concentrated in all of those healthy omega-3s.
And here we have Men's Health magazine, who has literally included ice cream on a list of superfoods, claiming that it can protect you from cancer, heart attack, stroke, and dementia.
You know what I'm also worried about? What the f*** is Ormus? Also, the indigenous populations who have subsisted on many of these superfood products for generations. Like the people in Peru who can't afford to buy quinoa anymore. Like the populations in the Andes whose prime and limited agricultural land is used to grow vast quantities of maca root for rich Westerners with hormonal problems instead of themselves. Like the child slaves in South America and India who are used to harvest, transport, and process chocolate and spices. And the large-scale processing and distribution of many of these products is financed not by local farmers, but by giant multinational corporations who reap all the profits. Large industries in these countries are the same as they are everywhere else. They'll cut as many corners and screw as many people as they can in the name of profits. So, what morsels of truth can we pick out of this proverbial cranberry bog of internet superfood bullshit? First, I am comfortable in saying that pretty much all whole plant foods are great. So instead of spending hundreds of dollars per month buying small amounts of potent and overly processed superfoods, I think you'd be a lot better off spending all of that money on the inexpensive superfoods of yesteryear. Just a wide variety of local whole plant foods with an extra emphasis on the ones that are very colorful. If you hear about an awesome superfood that's highly processed, overly packaged, and super expensive, ask yourself the question like, well, what is it about this superfood that's so healthy? And how can I find similarly as healthy foods close to home and for cheap? It's usually a pretty simple process. And, as an added bonus, it doesn't include having to touch David Wolf's chalky, greasy, overly sweetened, raw, super vitality bliss balls. I, for one, don't want anything to do with David Wolf's balls. And, to be honest, I think less of anyone who does. He's an unscrupulous scam artist, a con man, snake oil salesman. But I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater because some of these products are fantastic. Like goji berries. What a fantastic food to include in your overall diet. It's just a simple, dried, high antioxidant berry. Great. Spend the money on them if you have it, but don't expect miracles or maca root use to balance hormones. Trying maca root is infinitely better than taking hormone replacement therapy or birth control pills. So give it a try before you resort to pharmaceuticals. But again, I wouldn't expect it to be a miracle, but it could be part of an overall diet and lifestyle transformation to balance your hormones. So in most cases, superfoods, they're fairly innocuous. So feel free to use them if you have the extra money to spend and the product doesn't exert like a major hormonal or stimulating effect on your body. Feel free. I don't care. It's your life. But don't expect miracles. Health miracles are never contained within a single food. If you're on a tighter budget and you're struggling to just get enough healthy food for you and your family, save your money for real, colorful food. Lots of different types. Sleep plenty, stay hydrated with clean water, move your body with joy, because there is no single superfood on the planet that could ever match the potency and efficacy of that combo. And there is no food that can ever answer the question, what the f*** is Ormus? So until next time, make better choices for yourself, including eating plenty of whole plant foods that are colorful, and take really, really good care. I will see you all very soon. Bye! And I will finish by trying my best to answer the age-old question that I have asked many times in the course of this video. What the f*** is Ormus? After doing extensive research on Ormus on Mr. Wolf's snake oil website, I then branched out where I stumbled upon this article that says, and I quote, "When mixed with water, Ormus forms a gelatinous suspension that looks just like semen." Keep in mind, I'm not an expert, nor does my making this claim mean that I believe it to be true, or that it could possibly be true. But my rejuvenating, anecdotal thought processes anti-aged the characteristics of my neurotransmitter activity into miraculous healing and caused me to lucid dream the answer to what the fuck Ormus is. Ormus is David Wolfe's demolecularized semen. Just a theory, and to be honest, I think it might be a little bit more scientifically plausible than the other theories about what Ormus is. Please note, these statements have not been evaluated by the FDA or any other regulatory body. This statement is not intended to shape your opinion of David Wolfe or any other seller of powdered bullshit from questionable origin and of questionable efficacy. Thank you.